Joining us now, though, I love Mondays, Sun columnist legend Rod Liddle. Good morning, Rod.
Good morning to you, mate. How you doing?
I'm all right. You'd expect me to go straight in. Trevor Kavanagh, I can't find it, in the Sun today, wrote, and I'm going to... Sorry, Rod, I have to do this. Labour's Keir Starmer is an ocean-going, copper-bottomed hypocrite. He has U-turned on every policy, but his embracement of Margaret Thatcher takes the biscuit and has gone down, in the words of Kavanagh, like a cup of cold sick on the left of the Labour Party and on the right of the Tory Party. What's your take, Rod?
Yes, it's hilarious, isn't it? One assumes that Keir Starmer would have said something very different if he was talking to The Guardian. I mean, it really is remarkable the degree to which he will say whatever pleases whoever he's speaking to, and which accounts, of course, for the fact that he changes position on every single subject, as Trevor rightly said. I think it's 11 policy decisions he has changed 180 degrees on, you know, stuff like nationalising the utilities and so on, and whether it's right for cabinet ministers to be on picket lines, etc., etc. So we know he is a man of principle and of deep principle, but those principles change every day, and he doesn't really know what they are. It's remarkable. There's also one other thing, which is, you know, this has been quite widely reported. Up here where I am, there is no great love for Margaret Thatcher. You know, there is no doubt whatsoever that she was a determined, resolute, and a conviction politician in a way that Sir Keir isn't. But she also laid waste to vast tracts of land up here and put nothing in place to rescue the country, to rescue the really hard-hit areas, particularly in the northeast. From economic ruin. And, you know, up here on Teesside, to a degree, we're still suffering from the recession which she imposed upon us in the early 1980s. So I don't think it plays very well with those red wall voters who, technically at least, Sir Keir wants to get back.
Absolutely. But, Rod, you're a principled man. You've written many, many pieces in your time.
Principled, eh, Liddle?
He is principled. Good. This is ultimately a single sentence in which he says, Margaret Thatcher sought to drag Britain out of its stupor by setting loose on natural entrepreneurialism. It is just a solitary sentence. It's not as though he's endorsing the whole of her premiership.
I know,
do you
but
think
it's
we're overreacting to just this one line?
Why are you talking about it?
Well, yeah, precisely.
Because I'm paid that's the point. He doesn't say these things for no reason.
No.
He says them because he knows they will be picked up. And it may be, you know, if he'd said, and I think Vladimir Putin's an absolutely top fellow, that may only have been one line in a speech, but it's obviously the thing which people are going to pick up. And they pick up this because it's unexpected.
And he'd have known that, Rod. That's my point. I'm desperate to know what SPAD or what advisor has said to him. If you quote a woman who, yes, was very divisive, some people will tell you the greatest thing since sliced bread. Others, you've pointed out what happened in Teesside. He will have known. The question is, Rod, to you, and you live in Teesside, I spent a lot of time in Newcastle, does this say to the red wall that the voters that Labour always thought that they would get by just clicking their fingers, they were burnt by those people in 2019? Are they going to go, yeah, brilliant, she allowed us to buy our own house, we'll vote for Keir? Or are they going to go, hold on a minute, who does he think he is? Does this muddy the water or give clear water? Because to me, right now, I'm beginning to see very little difference between him and Sunak, if I'm honest.
Well, no, and that's also the policy, which is to make himself as anodyne as possible, so that it would seem to be that the next election is conducted on the issue of competence rather than on policy. And Keir Starmer will assume that on the issue of competence, he has a head start, which he probably does, because I think this has been an incompetent administration, frankly. And to hear Lucy Fraser talking about government success on immigration it takes us into the land of the surreal. It's got worse every single year that the Conservative Party has been in office. So there is, I think, within the public, a knowledge that the Conservative Party isn't terribly competent. But no, it doesn't play well with the red wall voters. I mean, you know, from a personal point of view, I can see that Margaret Thatcher, without question, was a very strong politician and a strong leader. And I think in foreign affairs was undoubtedly victorious. I mean, victorious in the Cold War, managed to get the Falklands back for us, took the right line towards Europe, etc., etc., etc. But domestic policy, you mentioned the name of Thatcher up here. It's pretty catastrophic, and we've had low-wage economy for so long, and a lot of that is because all the industry which we had up here, she dismantled, whilst it continued in Germany, it continued in Italy, and of course it continued in China.
Rod, do you think he's going to gain more Tory voters than he will lose Labour voters?
Yeah, I think unquestionably that's what he's doing, and he's appealing to those Tory voters, probably in the south, who may have been thinking and probably are thinking with some rectitude. I'm thinking about voting for him. If there's no SDP candidate around, I mean, it's a very difficult issue, and for a lot of people, they feel disenfranchised because neither of the two parties are telling us things which we can either believe or would want to hear. But yeah, I'm sure you're right. Yes, it's obviously it's in the Daily Telegraph. It's aimed at Tory voters, but it's difficult knowing how many people he will estrange at the same time. The one good thing, of course, is that it utterly enrages the worst people in Britain, which is the far left of his party.
Rod, final question. I couldn't agree more with you about that. Final question, my friends. You know what it's like with time. The British Bloated Corporation are about to increase their licence fee. I have a very strong opinion on this. I don't want to be told I have to pay for something I don't want to watch. I think the world should change and we should pay if that's the way it's going to go, probably because I work on the commercial side. What do you make of the BBC and this licence fee rise, allegedly?
Well, don't forget the two stories of last week were firstly that Newsnight is being effectively axed. It's just going to become a debate programme because its audience has gone down from what was really, really healthy, turn of the century, 2 million viewers, to about 250,000. I mean, it's just a catastrophic slump, whatever way you look at it, however you compare it. And also the story from Ofcom, which is that the BBC is totally out of touch with its working class licence fee paying base. The people who pay the licence fee, the majority of the country, feel estranged from it. And I think we'll look back at this time and think, well, look, the BBC was wonderful for a large number of years, even if it was patrician and rather arrogant in its approach. But the commercial model, it simply doesn't fit in with what we have today. And I don't know anyone who says, well, I'm going to look at BBC One tonight. Nobody looks at television.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Rod, thank you, my friend. I know we could talk to you all morning, but we have to crack on. But it's our Monday morning joy. Rod Liddle, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Rod.
Thank you. Thank you.